Like, he was doing things that were just badass.
That was one of the coolest moments of my life.
I was really scared, but knowing that Dan had the gun, I did have the rifle, like, we would be okay.
All right, guys, welcome to today's show. And on the show with me today, I've got Shaun Trump with Northern Timber Outfitters. He runs a premium duck call company. And if you check his stuff out after the show, you'll notice it is very well made. I mean, I was looking at the quality of it just in pictures on his Instagram, and they look like seriously high quality duck calls. And so I'm excited to have him on, chat with him about hunting and fishing and the outdoor life up in Pennsylvania. So welcome to the show, Shaun.
Hey, how's it going, Dan?
Pretty good. Why don't you just go ahead and give us a brief overview of your hunting history, kind of how you got into the outdoors, waterfowl especially, and that way our listeners can get a little more familiar with you.
All right. So believe it or not, I didn't start out as a waterfowl hunter. I'm 22 years old now, and I just got into waterfowl hunting about 6 years ago. But how I got started hunting is my family is huge into whitetail hunting. I mean, that's just a big thing in general in Pennsylvania, especially in the southeastern part here. And for as long as I can remember, like, I was tagging along, going hunting and stuff. I'd fake being sick at school just to get out and go out with my dad and the guys and stuff, and deer hunt. So I got into that when, at a young age. And then once I turned 12, I got, my hunting license and everything, and I started going out. And I think I was 13. I got my first buck, or no, I was 15 when I got my first buck. I was 13 when I got my first deer.
Nice.
And I mean, after that, like, I was hooked from the beginning, but after that, it was like, especially after the buck, I mean, I was hooked. It was like every chance I got, I was going out, even if it was by myself, just, for a little bit, I would go out. So, and then I got into waterfowl hunting. It was just something I always wanted to do. It looked fun. And, in all the videos you see on TV, it's like, oh man, this looks like fun. These guys are ripping through the marsh and this and that, killing ducks. So I wanted to give it a try. So I went and I picked up some decoys and some cheap calls, and just, I didn't go crazy to start. Just calls and decoys. I had fishing waders and stuff. I just had, regular camouflage, and I figured I'm going to give it a try and see what we can get out of this.
Yeah.
And the first season I went out was the best season we've had since I started hunting. It was a cold year. There were a lot of birds that were coming through the area, and after that I was hooked, and I mean, now I probably spend the most time and effort in the waterfowl hunting. I still, put a lot of time and effort into whitetail hunting. During the summertime and stuff, I don't have to put as much time into it. I just checking cameras and stuff, but I am hooked on duck hunting for life. So
yeah, waterfowl hunting has that ability to just hook you, and like,
it's
once
an addiction.
you're in. Yeah, it is. It really is. Like, all your time, money, energy, like your Amazon shopping cart, it's probably just like mine. It's all full of duck hunting stuff. But yeah, I had a very similar story to you. I mean, when you said you'd fake being sick at school, just to go hunting with your dad, I mean, that was me to a T. Luckily in Wisconsin, I think they kind of figured out that the whole week of deer rifle season is pointless to have school because nobody's going to attend. But yeah, I was the same way. It was like the entire week of Thanksgiving, if we didn't already have it off from school, I just would never go, because it meant I could be in the woods with my uncle or my dad or my mom.
Yeah. When I was in school, before I was old enough to get a license, that's when I would have to fake, being sick. It really wasn't even fake. I'd go to the nurse's office, I'd put on a little show, and it was just, the magic words of, I threw up in the bathroom or something. And I didn't even have to really throw up. I just had to say it. And they're like,
Yep.
you got to go home. And,
That's awesome.
I knew right away they were going to call my mom. My mom knew why I was faking I was faking it, and she would call my dad and come get me. But then, once I got old enough to get a license, the first day of gun season, I was allowed off from school and everything. So,
Well, think about how much easier it is for students now. All they have to do is say that they've got a fever or a headache, and it's like, COVID, stay home.
yeah,
You
right.
better believe. I mean, like 2 days before hunting season started, I would be telling all my teachers I wasn't feeling right.
I mean, I thought about doing it with work, but my boss won't. He won't buy it. So there was a couple of times where it was like I had like a close call with coming in contact with somebody, and when I find out that they tested positive, I tell him like, listen, I got to get tested, this and that. And he was like, all right, just get tested. Let me know. Like, we do tree service work. That's my, my day job. And
Okay.
so I don't ride in a truck with anybody. I have my own truck, so we're not like on top of each other. So like, he wasn't overly concerned, like gonna freak out about it. But, unless I, could prove I tested positive, there's no way I was using COVID to get out of work stuff on. But
That's funny. What do you do tree service wise? That I'm always curious, because I've got friends that are arborists, but you said you run a truck, and I've seen those trucks that like cruise down the side of the highway with basically a giant chainsaw on the side of it. And
yeah, I don't drive something that cool, but I drive it's a Ford F-750. So it's
nice.
a big truck. And it's just a chip body truck, but it's older. It's from 96. Slow as all get out. And it's old, but
Yeah.
it's all right. I enjoy driving it and stuff. And we just use it. We'll chip in it if we have to. We'll put brush in it if we have to. We'll put wood in it if we have to. It's kind of just, it's utilized as our spare truck with my crew. So
Nice.
that I'm on. But yeah, we don't do like a lot of like highway stuff and all. We're more residential,
Okay.
some commercial stuff. We do stuff with cranes and all. We have bucket trucks. We do some big stuff, but we don't ever do like those big highway jobs and all.
Man, have you seen this is totally unrelated to hunting and fishing, but have you seen those helicopters that fly around with the giant disc blades? It's like a stack of disc blades, and they just like run power lines or highway edges.
Yeah, I think those are cool. I'd never want to fly one.
No, I don't think I would either, because not only are you crashing, but you've got blades that could just split
Right.
you into
The blades on top are bad enough. I don't, need all that below me.
Exactly.
So especially since, helicopters just spend their entire time in the air fighting to keep themselves up. It's like,
yeah, no thanks.
There's no way that's light underneath of that thing. So I'll have to pass on that.
Oh yeah, no way. I'm out.
Yeah. I have gone up on the crane before. I was 152 feet in the air. That was cool. Yeah, it was cool. Where we were at, like I could see down to Philadelphia, which was probably about 25 miles from where we were. Just from up on top of the crane and stuff. And it was awesome. Cool. It's you gotta have somewhat of a thrill seeker in you for some of that stuff, because it's just a rope. It's a rope and a saddle holding your life, and it's in its hands. So
I do great with heights if I'm over water. I mean, like in Wisconsin, I grew up cliff jumping on the rivers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd dive off of stuff like 30 feet tall. No problem. Wasn't scared about it. But as soon as you get me over something else, like I don't like being in a skyscraper. I went up to the top of the rock in New York. I spent a summer on Long Island, like renovating a house and doing actually brush and tree cleanup on a couple of properties. And we would go into the city all the time. And even being up on top of the rock, I was like, nope, not interested. This is not for me at all.
Yeah.
I've got to be above something softer than concrete, I think.
Yeah. For me, like heights and stuff, heights don't bother me. As far as like kind of that thrill seeker mentality, like that, just send it. It's I don't know, sometimes I have it and sometimes I don't. My one brother has it. He has no fears whatsoever. he doesn't think before he does stuff. But for me, sometimes depending on the mood and kind of the vibe that's going on. Sometimes I'll have that thrill seeker mentality, but
Yeah.
not all the time. So
Well, sorry, I kind of took us all over the place there for a second. Let's go back to talking about your duck call company. You
Okay.
shared with me before we actually started recording, but why don't you share with the listeners how you got into making duck calls? Because I found this very fascinating.
So my dad and I used to love just watching the show Duck Dynasty, watching those guys down at Duck Commander. Just because we thought it was hilarious. It's like, how did these rednecks get this reality TV show?
It's always fun watching rednecks that are rich.
Yeah,
Because it's
just,
like, yep, I would absolutely spend my money on that or go
the
do that.
possibilities are, endless and what can go on. So we would watch it. My dad we would watch the one episode where they're catching the frogs on a golf course pond over and over again, because we just thought it was so hilarious. But as I told you, I'm very good at learning and figure out how to do things from just my observations. In fact, a lot of just the stuff I became good at my job was from that. And just from the little like tidbits of what those guys were doing with the calls on camera, I kind of figure out how to do it. And then I got really close, without, a lathe and all the crazy tools you need and stuff. And for some reason I just put it down and I didn't pick it up again until I was like 16. When I got into duck hunting, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. So, I got a lathe, I got a drill press. I started ordering some blanks and stuff and turning some stuff, and then I got inserts. And for the longest time, I'd turn a blank and I'd put an echo insert in it, and it was like, okay, this is good to go. And then I wanted to start growing and expanding. So I started posting some pictures of stuff in some Facebook groups and all. And then I got hit with the harsh reality of, it's not your duck call if you just stuff it with an echo insert.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I got a hold of somebody who has a CNC shop in Missouri, and they do a lot of duck call parts and stuff. And he said, design an insert, create a blueprint for it, send it to me, and we'll turn an insert for you, and we'll send you a couple. If you like them, we'll make you some. So
Nice.
I took some time and I kind of designed something up, a shape and everything. And he kind of assisted with, what to do with the tone board and such. And I got him my design. He got me some inserts, and I love them. And actually for my first order of them, I was like, I'm gonna go with Coke bottle, like a Coke bottle colored insert.
Yeah.
And I just thought it looked cool. And I got them like, what am I gonna pair these with? Like, there's no way this is gonna work with anything. And I have found that I actually like how they look in just about any type of wood I put them in. Any type of wood that, I turn into a call and I use this insert. I'm like, that actually looks good with that. Like, it just, I don't know, for some reason to me it fits and it looks good. So that was how I got started with that. And then I didn't do a lot of bands at first. I turn everything by hand. Everything from start to finish on the call is done by hand, except for the actual machining of the insert, because they're acrylic, so they're done on that CNC machine. But I get a wood blank, and it has to be drilled out, and then it's about 4 inches long when I start with it, and it's a square. And I'll shorten it to the size I need it to be, and then I'll turn it, and then I fit it for the band. So literally, we're talking, I'm taking it down a little bit, sanding it, checking it, and fitting the band to the call. And then I usually start by fitting the band to the call, just because if the band's not going to fit, the blank can't be used for, like, if I take it too far down, the blank can't be used for what I want to do with that call. So if I can't fit
Yeah.
the band to it, I'll just start over again. But I've gotten pretty good at it. It's difficult because you're talking precise measurements. If you take it down just a little too far, the band has room for error further down the line in the call's life. Out in the marsh and the wetness and stuff. So yeah, then I sand them down. I have an engraver that I burn my logo. I can do I can customize stuff. I can put people's names or something on the call.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was cool. It was the probably the coolest thing I ever bought. I actually I just started a new line of leather patch hats, and it works for them. It actually works really well, and it's been a pretty versatile machine for the stuff I'm doing as far as duck calls go, and like the leather patch hats, turkey calls, all sorts of stuff like that. It's not very big, but it works for everything I need to do, and it's great. So I'll do like a call engraving and stuff, and then I tune the insert. I usually my most popular one's been a triple reed insert. I designed a way I cut the reeds so they all don't completely cover each other. They all lay so that at some point one is not touching the other, so there's no dimple to them, and it sounds really good. All my buddies love them. I've donated a few to some Ducks Unlimited events, and I mean the guys the DU guys, they love them, and the people who get them really like them. So that's kind of been just mainly what I've been doing is this triple reeds. So
Nice. Where do you sell them? I mean, are you selling them like at events? Is it word of mouth? Do you have a website? How are you going about selling and marketing those?
So I do have a website. We actually technically have two. I had a website for years, and I spent I think it was close to 60 hours 1 month website editing.
Okay.
And I hated it. When I was done, I hated it. So I did some research, and I got a new website builder, and I put a new one together. And that's where I'm still working on getting some stuff up there. There's not a lot of stuff on there yet. Just entering it in and stuff is a little different. But I have calls up there and all, and that's where everybody can get my calls. I don't have them in any big stores yet.
Okay.
And then I use social media for a lot of my advertising: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Yep.
So that has been something that's been a challenge. Just I'm not very tech savvy. I'm not very in with all the new technology and social media. So figuring out how that stuff works has been my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
So
no, I feel you there. I'm thankful my wife knows what she's doing, because I'm like, I don't ever think, like, if I'm out doing something, I'm never like, oh, I need to put this on TikTok or I need to put this on Instagram. But my wife, her mind operates that way, and that's kind of what's keeping me going. I mean, that's why I have like 99% of my listeners is because of things that she's got me to do on TikTok or marketing myself that way. So
I will say the TikTok channel I have is new. I just started that maybe 2 months ago. It's growing. It's actually growing pretty well. It's statistically, it's growing faster than the Instagram page is.
nice.
The Instagram page is kind of plateaued somewhat as of right now, but at the same time, I've shifted the majority of my focus to TikTok just because it's kind of the new in app.
Yeah.
So trying to get that to grow. And I will say, as far as footage and stuff goes, it seems like we never have a camera rolling. And it's something that's like, it's like we should just wear cameras. Like that should have been on camera. Like, we were out, we were just scouting for ducks like a couple weeks ago. Actually, I think we were going to check out a new spot that we wanted to look at for the season. And we had a lone Drake mallard just go right over the boat. We're cruising up the river in the boat, flew right over, and I told him, I'm like, yo, and he cuts the motor, and he had his calls on just because he wears them everywhere. And he blew the triple reed call. And I mean, this bird blocked wings and just 20 yards from the boat, landed right next to us.
Oh,
And I'm like, I was like, why didn't we film that? Like, why this is the stuff we need to film. So it's like my brain just it hasn't quite learned that it's like I have to focus on that stuff too. It's just me. It's like, oh, look at this. I get all excited because it ducks. But
yeah.
My girlfriend, she's pretty good with social media stuff. She doesn't hunt. Her family just wasn't into that. I've gotten her into fishing. She loves
Nice.
fishing. So
It's a good intro into the outdoors.
yeah. So we had her shoot some guns the other day. So she said she wants to get a hunting license and try it out. But as far as sometimes like what stuff to post for like duck hunters and stuff, it's like she kind of knows how the social medias work, but not necessarily always what to post. Like, what we need to obtain footage of the post. So
Yeah.
that's been a struggle. One thing that has been good is as far as like apparel and stuff goes, and just the way things look and will appeal to people. She's been very helpful with that, just because her taste is a little different, like with my shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
I was all about just a center chest logo on like my shirts, and she was like, no, you should do some as a left chest. And I was like, I disagree, but go ahead. And
sure, why not?
I wear the left chest one more than I wear the center one. It was like, all right, I'll start asking for your opinion on stuff.
Yeah. They do. I mean, to have somebody else to bounce your ideas off of and to get extra input from, I just think that's huge. No matter who it is, whether it's girlfriend, spouse, or friends, family, anytime you can get multiple people to give you input, I feel like that's the way to go.
And I mean, it's great, this whole thing, because I mean, this is a dream of mine, and it's still somewhat of a pipe dream, just because this is it's a hard industry, I would say, to start a company in. And I would say particularly like with game calls and stuff, just because there's so many people that make them. There's so many do-it-yourselfers out there. It's like to create something unique, and create a brand image, especially where I'm located in southeastern PA. It's pretty populated. It's more of a suburban area than a rural area.
Yeah.
And we don't have we just don't have the habitat and stuff to have massive amounts of ducks like you see in the TV shows and in Arkansas and all that stuff. So it's been difficult, but the cool thing is just friends and family have been real supportive with it. My dad he jumped on board with all that, and he'd call me all the time. Hey, I had this idea. And he just loves it. I give him shirts and stuff all the time, and he wears them all the time. He loves it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and I mean, my buddies Corey and James. If you watch any of our stuff on YouTube or you look at any of our social media stuff, you'll probably see them mentioned quite a bit. Even in like some of the TikToks and stuff. Those guys are the two guys I hunt with the most, and they're the ones I'm doing stuff with every weekend, whether it's catfishing or bass fishing, whatever it is. And they're probably my biggest help with when it comes to doing stuff to just kind of help create one, like a good brand image and stuff. Like you got to know what you're doing to just to make calls, because you have to know they work. So they're helping with all sorts of stuff, and it's just great.
That's cool to have friends that like support you in it, and not only that, but want to be a part of it. I know. I mean, for my first like dozen episodes of the podcast, all I did was have friends and family, and it's just cool to have something that like you can all get together and do and have a good time with. There's something about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's the thing. It's like they're here to help me because they want to see me succeed, and they don't expect anything in return. If this goes where I want it to, it's like, you guys don't have to work that crappy day job anymore. Come work for me, and we'll just, we'll make we'll make products throughout the year, and
Duck
we'll,
Dynasty
we'll push.
2.0.
Yeah, that's what everybody calls us. It's like, it's like, I don't want to be a copycat, but it's like, it's kind of cool that
If you're gonna copy anybody, copy those guys though.
yeah,
They're a good time. If I could hang out with that crew, I'd be in heaven.
yeah, oh yeah, no, they're an awesome crew from
What a-
everything I've seen. They're just, seem like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, you touched on it a little bit, like hunting up in Pennsylvania in suburban areas. Like how do you view that, or how do you find that to be different than if you were out in Kansas hunting? What does your hunting strategy look like when you're waterfowl hunting there?
So, I've only ever hunted in Pennsylvania. This year I will be making a trip to Jersey, New Jersey, and possibly Louisiana. That's
Oh,
still
cool.
up in the air. But from watching, videos and stuff, the biggest thing is, and even Western Pennsylvania, where the Susquehanna and stuff comes through, they have more birds. There's just more birds that come through. That's probably one of the tough things. Now, you don't need to have a lot of birds to be a waterfowl hunter. But when I'm talking, there's some days where we will go out and we will be out there till lunchtime and see no ducks. It happens, like none. We'll get up and move and not see ducks.
Yeah.
The biggest, one of the other big things is waterways. We have a couple little creeks, but being in suburban area, you can't always hunt all of them. Like, there's stretches with houses and stuff. There's 3 major creeks in the area. There's the Skipback, the Perkiomen, and the Schuylkill, and the Skipback flows into Perky, and the Perky flows into Schuylkill. So that's how those work. And you can hunt part of the Skipback where it runs through the state park, but
Okay.
even then you can't hunt all of it, and that's small. I mean, it's never more than chest deep at the most, and it's not very wide. But like last year I shot 3 wood ducks. I had my wood duck limit in 10 minutes on opening day. So it's hit or miss. But like the Perkiomen, you can't hunt any of it. It's all county park, and it's no hunting. The Schuylkill, that's our big river in this area. It's the Schuylkill. The next closest one would be the Delaware, and then the Susquehanna. The Schuylkill is where we primarily duck hunt. It holds more birds than the other creeks. The Perkiomen probably holds a lot of birds, but we don't even waste our time looking just because we can't hunt it. If I drive over a bridge, obviously, if I'm driving along or something, my attention is focused on
You're a waterfowl guy, so anytime there's water or crops,
right,
you're just
water,
scanning with your eyes.
reeds, a flooded puddle on the side of the road.
For real.
I've seen them in there. That's the thing, like
golf courses.
yeah, right. And then like the Skipback, in the early season, it's great wood duck creek. The habitat is just there. There's a lot of older trees and stuff along there. We have a lot of ash trees which are dying off up here, and they just they have plenty of habitat, nesting habitat and stuff. I saw 60 wood ducks on opening day in 2 hours. And I was amazed. Like, I was losing my mind. I'm like, I've never seen this many wood ducks in my life up here. Like, this is crazy. And it was just cool. And that was probably my best hunt in a couple of years, is that hunt right there.
Wood ducks have to be my favorite. Like,
they're
just
beautiful.
The way that they look, the way that they fly, the noises they make. I mean, if I could hunt anything, I mean, obviously there's like the exotic species of birds, or like the ones that I don't have here, but anything local, it would be wood ducks for sure.
Yeah, I shot a beautiful drake. I should have got it mounted, but I didn't. It came right in, cupped up, and just when he realized it was a bad move, it was too late, and it was like picture perfect. Like, it was beautiful. And it was a beautiful bird.
My buddy sent me a picture. I think it was last year or 2 years ago now. He went down back to Mississippi, where he's from. He went down there and did a waterfowl hunt, and he shot 3 wood ducks. One of them was banded, and they were all 3 just beautiful drakes. I was like, come on, man. Like, how come I feel like I go 4 or 5 seasons without shooting a wood duck here.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want to shoot them, just let me know. We'll take you out on a hunt up here. So just because it's a little different doesn't mean we don't have the spots. We'll take you out.
That would be awesome.
We'll get you hooked up and stuff.
I'd be down. I'm like, I think I just need to start making that proposition to every podcast guest. Like, hey, I'll trade you a hunt for a hunt. You come here, I'll take you out hunting or, fishing or whatever it is that we're going to talk about. And then we can
you
just
don't even
swap
have to offer that to me. I love getting people out hunting. I love taking people hunting. To me, one of the best ways to build friendships is with hunting and fishing, just being in the outdoors, because it's more than just a friendship. You have a different respect for nature. And I just feel like, the outdoor activities, they bring people together in a different way. Like my greatest friends, I have 0 friends from when I was in school, and that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
All my friends have been made outside of school through hunting and stuff, and those friendships are greater than any other friendships I ever had.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I mean, I'm in the same boat. All of my closest friends are all people that I hunt, fish, camp, float, you name it, doing stuff in the outdoors. I've got one friend. I've known him. His name's Chris. I've known him for, man, it's got to be just shy of 15 years now. And we were talking about it like a month or 2 ago. We've never watched a movie together. Yeah. Never. And I was like, you know how weird that is? And he's like, I just have never really thought about it. I was like, yeah, but we've literally never sat down and watched a movie together, because every time we're together, we're outside doing something. We're with our families. We're sitting around a fire, or, we're on a camping trip or a hunting trip or something like that. And he's one of my closest friends.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same way with, Corey, James, and I. I do have another friend, Zach. He just moved out he's actually living right on the Susquehanna. He's been my best friend for the longest time. And I mean, we're still close, but Zach and Corey and James and I, like, the only time we all sit down together for anything, it's to hunt or fish. It's just, we don't watch movies and do all that stuff. It's when we're together, we're hunting, fishing, shooting bows, we're doing something outside. It's awesome, and it's the best friendships that I could ask for.
Yeah, that's cool. So tell me a little bit more. I mean, when you guys go out, you said you're mostly hunting rivers when you get out and hunt. Is it, I mean, are you always floating on boats? Are you just bank hunting? How do you go about hunting the rivers there in PA?
So I would say we do a little of everything.
Okay.
We have some pop-up lines and stuff, like some A-frames and all. We will utilize those if we have a spot for them. And we have, spots from, on a 10-mile stretch of this river. We got different spots that we access from different launches and stuff. We don't really do any floating.
Okay.
The river's it's just at that perfect size where it's just like, it's too big to float. We've tried it before. You get so close to the birds, and by the time you get try and sneak up on them, they take off.
Yeah.
We do use the boats. We've hunted out of those a few times, but primarily, what we do is we'll pull up to a spot, we'll get out, we'll unload everything, and 2 guys will start on a blind. Somebody's putting decoys out, and we'll brush ourselves in with natural stuff, and we'll make something natural on the side of the river. That way we're not building something that's leaving out there, one, because it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
The hurricanes and stuff that come up here, every once in a while, and the flooding that we get, 90% of the time they don't make it a season. So a lot of times, primarily, we're building natural stuff and setting up on it, and then we'll hide the boat. We'll put it downstream, tuck it in a washed up tree on the side there, and just lay some, camo over top of it, and it works.
Yeah.
We see birds, we kill birds. We're not dragging a limit out. Sometimes not even between the three of us
Yeah.
every time. But
I know how that goes.
yeah, it's just, we don't, the birds are smart to come through here. They've been shot at, and honestly, I think it's just they're able to just pick it out just because there's so many. I think with just the amount of people and stuff, they in this area, they just pick out like, that's not right. They know these guys aren't giving me bread. These guys in that blind. Sometimes we're just horrible with, brushing ourselves in. It looks great in the dark, and then it's like daytime, and it's like, yeah, they can see us from, a mile over. So, but this year, as I was telling you before we started, a place where I do some dirt biking, and my buddy James does some dirt biking and stuff. It's an old silt basin, and it's in between the railroad tracks and the Schuylkill River. And there's one basin, part of the basin, that's like flooded timber, and that one's actually pretty deep. That's where I was seeing some blue-winged teal last year. And then there's like a marsh pond where it's just this pond that's surrounded by marsh grass, and it's like a picture perfect looking duck hole. But in
Nice.
between both of those is this big flooded timber patch that is surrounded by like 50 yards of just thick reeds on all sides. And Corey and I were back in there the other day, and we're walking through, and I'm like, Corey, I feel like I'm in Louisiana. Like, this looks like something off of TV. Like, there's birds flying here, there's turtles. Like, I feel like, I should be on a TV show like in Louisiana. Like, this is crazy. And there was just ducks everywhere. And I was like, we got to hunt this. We should have hunted this last year. I knew it was here. I just never put the time into it. So, it's a mile ride by side or by boat. You can do either one. The side by side's easier to get back to this hole. So what we did is it's hard to scout. The other reason why it's hard to scout is if you get too close during the daytime and stuff, the birds just go into the reeds and they disappear. We walk through some of the little cutouts in the reeds, and they're just all over in between, the different reed channels, and over here in this little pocket and over there in that little pocket. So what we did was we bought one of those cellular cameras, and we stuck it back there. And we're going to take it down before the season, just because I feel like I like it. It's cool because it sends a picture right to my phone. It's like, oh, check this out. But it's just, I feel like to a certain extent that's cheating. We're using it for now just so we can kind of see what's going on back there. The really cool thing has been seeing all the broods of ducklings. There's a couple wood ducks back there with like a dozen, and it was just so cool to see. It's like, look at this, is awesome. So
that is sweet. Yeah, my buddy in South Carolina, he actually found a wood duckling underneath his camper. He's got his camper parked back near a little swamp by a clear cut, and his wife called him one day, and she's like, there's a little bird underneath the camper, and there was a little wood duckling. But yeah, man, there's something about like pursuing a certain species of animal, but then also being able to witness them like reproduce or like have offspring. I was pulling up my driveway today with the kids, and I looked out, and there was 2 turkeys and about a dozen poults chasing after the hen. Awesome. And I was like, man, this is so cool just to like watch the whole cycle happen with waterfowl, with wildlife in general. There's something about that.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that, I'm big into making the duck calls and stuff and hunting. But a side that I've been trying to grow with this whole company is conservation work. You see the stuff Ducks Unlimited does, and it's huge. But it's like we got to do more. They're not making any more land. They're not making any more of this stuff. It's like we have to put a focus on this. So we started doing wood duck nesting boxes and mallard nesting tubes.
Nice.
Those were actually our first YouTube videos with how to make those. I joined a Ducks Unlimited committee. I'm on the committee board for this chapter, and we go to the events and everything, and then we're working on some stuff. We actually want to have a line of, I'm looking at hopefully calls and like apparel and stuff. A line of gear where just if you buy this certain gear from us, it's like we're going to take this much of it and we're going to put it towards building nesting boxes and building tubes. And even if we're not getting them out places and stuff, I work with the game commission. We're going to be banning ducks and turkeys and putting nesting structures out in the spring and stuff. It's just we want to give back and do conservation work. And obviously, we're starting kind of here, but as the company grows, it's something that I would like to grow, out of the state. I'd like it to go different places and everything.
Yeah.
So,
man, that's awesome that you guys are getting involved in that kind of work. I feel like anybody who's in the outdoors needs to get involved in some type of organization, whether it's like National Deer Alliance, the Wild Sheep Foundation, NWTF, or RMEF. I mean, DU, you name it. Like there's so many opportunities to become a part of the change that we want to see happen, whether it be with like legislation or growing the the national or public lands that we have, helping recover certain species in areas. Like there's so much going on. Even here in Missouri, they opened up elk hunting last year. They're opening up a bear season this year. And if it wasn't for all these organizations, like we would not have the game that we do right now. We wouldn't have the opportunities to hunt that we do right now, and especially not the land that we have to hunt.
Right. And I would say, land is a huge part of it. Statistically, new hunters are on the decline across the country.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't see it that way because when they're out on public land, they just feel like they're so overcrowded and they're getting pissed off because this guy set up 50 yards from her, this, that. And it's like, well, the biggest thing is in general, hunters can be just jerks. Like, most hunters are jerks, and not like all the time, but like when they're out hunting, they're jerks. And I understand it. Like I would get upset too if somebody set up too close to me, but you have to take the time to, if it's a new hunter, invest in them because they're the future of this. And that could be the difference. You take in a few minutes to invest, be like, hey, listen, like, talking to them in the parking lot beforehand, figuring out where everybody's going to go, just so everybody doesn't get frustrated, and helping that person become better aware of what's going on in public land and how to hunt it could be the difference between, a license sale next year, a duck stamp next year. And to me, it's just like huge. It's like I'm watching, places we used to have permission to hunt in my area just disappear. They turn into developments, It's like this is going to disappear. And the only way that it's going to stop disappearing is if we can generate this new group of younger and newer hunters and create that need and that, that support for more public land, or just making sure that, we're respectful of people with private land and stuff, to bring back kind of that, we have hunting land aspect. People don't, in this area especially, aren't just openly giving out like invitations to come, hunt their public or private land, and it's hard to get private land spots. So a lot of the hunting that's done is public land. And in my opinion, it's like conservation work it's a great way to get people involved, because you may have somebody who's a non-hunter but loves wildlife and stuff, so they're willing to contribute to conservation just because they like watching wildlife. You could have somebody who their hobby is they like to go out and photograph ducks with their broods. Well, a nesting structure is going to give them that opportunity. And they could buy a duck stamp. Like, it's just, there's so much that goes into it. And I think it really just all comes down to, it's like us as hunters have to be open to giving guidance to new hunters and young hunters, and getting those people involved. And that's why, like, I offered you, like, you can come hunt with us. I offer people all the time, if you want to come out and hunt, you don't owe me anything, I don't expect anything in return. You just got to show up. We will get you out, and we'll get you involved, because that's the only way that this is going to be around for generations, is to just keep bringing in those new hunters and educating people. And we're all out there to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Corey and James laugh at me because I'll get on the Facebook group sometimes, and I mean, I lay into the guys sometimes when they're just chewing out somebody new or chewing out somebody for helping somebody out. One time, this guy said that he had like 24 decoys to give away for free to a newer hunter, or to somebody who needed some decoys and wanted to get into it and just couldn't afford it. And this one guy was just ripping him like, oh, if you can't afford it, this and that. And I mean, I like laid into the guy, and finally he just, he had enough. But it was just like, you're really ripping this guy. It's his, first of all, it's his decoys. If he wants to give them away, let him give them away. And it's like, you're acting like this is some high class, like, sport, elite sport. It's not an elite sport. That right there is the difference between somebody new getting into it or not, by you bashing this guy. It's like, come on now. So, aside from hunting and stuff and just the business, I love getting people involved. I love conservation work because I want to be able to hunt and enjoy it for the rest of my life. And, I want the future generations to enjoy that. So I would say kind of like my vision for my conservation work and, bringing new people into this would honestly go farther and is bigger than what, I kind of have planned for my business, just because eventually, I would love to just be doing more of that than just, selling duck calls and stuff. But, the duck calls are kind of a stepping stone for me to get there.
That's cool, man. It's always awesome to hear other people that are passionate about getting new hunters out there. I mean, that's something that I've always wanted to do or tried to do, is even if it's somebody who may have hunted in the past, they don't have to be like first time ever, because what I've noticed is a lot of people have hunted. They've had an experience in the past, whether it be with their uncle or grandpa or friend, but they haven't had the consistency or the place to go, or, it may have been an initial thing and then nothing moving forward. And they would love to do it and they would stick with it if they could learn more. And so I like getting people like that out. Don't get me wrong, I take new hunters out that have never done it. Even my wife, I got her out last year. She shot her first whitetail. She was so pumped about it. I like taking kids out, but if we don't almost reproduce as hunters, like, I'm not saying like have kids of our own, but be able to
educate. You have to
educate and like bring knowledge about the sport and the accessibility of it to people who don't know, like, it's going to die off. It's only going to be a matter of another generation or two, and the land's going to all get sold off. The opportunities are going to die off. And so I encourage everybody who's listening, if you're into the outdoors, hunting, fishing, whatever it is that you're passionate about, try to share that passion with somebody else, because we need it. We need to start getting our numbers up as hunters, fishers, and outdoorsmen.
Yeah, like you were saying, we have to educate people and grow those new hunters in it. And I mean, the biggest thing is some of it's just education. They might like it, they might do it, but they just don't know. So they don't invest a lot of time or money into it. They don't bother getting involved with an organization because they're not that big into it. Like, I have a little brother, he's 11, he just got his first turkey this year.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
Like, he doesn't know like how to go out and scout for that. He's not old enough to just hop in the truck and go scout, but it's like I am. So, I was taking him out and showing him, and then it was like, I'm going out and doing it because he can't cover as much ground as I can and stuff. But it's like, I know how to do this stuff. And it was just, he was hooked after he got that first turkey this year. It's like, come on, like, I want to go again. It's like, you only get one tag, you gotta wait. But it's that education factor
Yeah.
too, because it's not just about, killing a deer, killing a turkey, or killing ducks. It's bigger than that.
Yep.
You get to just spend time outside. It's exercise, it's healthy for you. Like, there's so much more to it than just killing, and it's great. And
Well, and
I think the young go ahead.
there's like an intimidation factor too that comes with it that it's hard to get past for people. I mean, even for me, I've hunted east of the Mississippi River almost all my life, and it wasn't until I moved out to actually I moved down to Missouri and started hunting here. But it's like I didn't hunt a lot of things for the first few years I was here because I didn't know where to go. I mean, I could have looked it up on maps and stuff, but Onyx wasn't around at that point. I didn't know, the local spots to go after ducks. I didn't have any private land permissions or anything like that. And so it wasn't until I met a couple other people here that hunted on public land for waterfowl, and they invited me out. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, there actually is a ton of places to do it. And same thing with Western big game hunting. I moved out to Colorado, and I don't know how long it would have taken me to get my first elk had it not been for people who knew the area, who lived there, who had been hunting there for a long time, that just invited me out. And I'm an avid outdoorsman. Like, if I can be doing anything, it is hunting or fishing. But
Yeah,
even as
absolutely.
somebody who has that as their number one passion, I wouldn't have had any idea how to figure out the draw process in Colorado, where I can hunt, what method of take I can use in certain areas. But when when hunters really do take someone under their wing, whether it be a brand new hunter or somebody who just is inexperienced in a certain field, that's a game changer. And I mean, look at me now, like starting a podcast. If I was just a whitetail hunter and that's all I did was, whitetail hunt in Wisconsin all my life, I probably wouldn't be this passionate about it and share about it. But it's because of all these other experiences that I've had. And I realize now how easy it is and how accessible it is for everybody to get out and do that. Like, I want to share that with people.
Yeah, and one thing, like you were saying, is you wouldn't, with the elk draw process and stuff in Colorado, and where you can hunt, where you can't hunt, what you can use. I would say that's something that I've struggled with hunting ducks. Like, here in southeastern PA, it's kind of like a dead zone in between, like, the coast, and then the flyway cutting down to the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to get down to like Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey. And it's like, but I'm trying to read their regulations and stuff on where I can hunt, and it's just like this, like, I need a lawyer for this, like, to break all this stuff down for me. It's like, I don't get it. Like, I can read ours fine, and I know what to do in my state. And it wasn't until I actually bought some decoys off a guy in Jersey and stuff, and was talking with him and all, and he said, well, come down here and you can hunt with me, and I'll kind of show you things. And it was just like, boom, that right there. It's I know how to hunt. Like, I do this. It's not like it's a new thing for me, but it was just that kindness, and that, let me educate you on hunting here in this area. It was just a big thing, because if he's doing that for me, and then it's like I can show people and stuff. It's a chain reaction, and it's important that we have people who think that way.
So if you heard that loud thud, that's what it was. Well, man, I appreciate you hopping on with me, and like you, I hope that this platform, the podcast, and all of that can go towards way more than just being entertaining, and we can get more people out hunting and fishing and contributing in whatever way possible. And dude, I'm absolutely going to take you up on the Pennsylvania duck hunting trip, and you've got an open invite. If you ever want to come on down and check out Missouri and what Missouri has to offer. We don't have the part of Missouri I'm in doesn't have a ton of birds, but we do have birds, and we do have quite a bit of teal. I know you said you're excited about that. But if we go just a little bit, oh man, all right, I'm gonna be done with this phone. Just fell on me again. Yeah, if we go just a little bit, like an hour, hour and a half in any direction, the hunting significantly improves. And so just let me know, man, if you want to
Yeah,
make
I
a trip
will.
down here, bring a buddy or two. I know you mentioned you're pretty close with a couple of your hunting buddies.
Corey's actually from Missouri.
Oh,
and his
very
dad
cool.
grew up waterfowl hunting in Missouri. So
Nice.
yeah. So it's funny you say that, but yeah, I will definitely have to take you up on that.
Well, Shaun, before I let you go, could you share with anybody listening where they can find your stuff, whether it be like purchase your calls or follow you on social media, watch your YouTube videos, that type of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Facebook, we're just Northern Timber Outfitters, and our YouTube is the same. Instagram and TikTok, our username is North T Outfitters. And then our website URL is northerntimberoutfitters.com. So the links are in the bios on all our social media platforms. And then if you want to follow us, if you need something custom done, you want like your name put on a call or something, you can reach out to me through the website or through social media, either one. So I check everything daily and all. So
Nice.
that's where you can find everything we're doing, see what we're doing, keep up to date with all that stuff.
Very cool. Now I've got one last question for you, just because I thought of this while you were talking about like hand turning your duck calls and doing that whole deal.
Mhm.
Have you ever tried to incorporate like a deer antler into a duck call? Because my mom actually started making deer antler and elk antler rings,
Mhm.
like wedding rings or just rings that you wear on your fingers. If I were to get like a band made out of a deer antler, could you incorporate that into a duck call somehow?
Yeah, so if you get the band made and you send it to me, I can put it on a call for you.
Sweet.
So
I
yeah,
might have
that's
to have a custom call made soon. That seems like it would be awesome.
yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, that's one thing like I'm always open to. If you don't see something on my website that you like, and you know you still want a call that's kind of has a little more meaning put to it, being hand turned and crafted and everything, you can reach out. I can get you different types of wood and stuff, and I mean I can do that for anybody.
Very
The
cool.
only thing that kind of stays the same is the insert stays the same, but as far as bands go and stuff, I can show people varieties of bands and all that stuff. So if you want to send me a deer antler, I'll put it on a call for you.
Man, that sounds really sweet. Now I always forget to do this. I started this segment called Unloading the Chamber. And basically it's just my way of letting you have a last word, a last thought, piece of advice, anything like that for the listeners. And I probably forget to do it like 90% of podcasts, but I remembered this time. So if you had anything to leave listeners with, what would that be?
We talked a lot about just getting new people involved, and I would say next time you're out hunting or fishing and you think about getting irritated with that person that got too close to you, or kind of what you might think has messed up your hunt, take the time to just mentor them and show them how to become better at it, and do it in a kind way, and do it in a way that is going to keep them coming back to enjoy the sport.
Man, that's great advice. And I really do appreciate you again for hopping on the call with me. And I look forward to getting out on a hunt with you and connecting with you more in the future. And I'm going to chat with my mom about getting a band sent up to you made out of deer antler so I can be blowing on one of your calls next year.
All right, sounds good, man.
Thanks again, Shaun, and we'll chat again soon.
Yep, sounds good.